we are beginning the lectures on engineering. Yes, sir. This lecture will extend to different branches of engineering, but we have to start with mechanics and structures. We will extend to other branches like soil mechanics, foundation mechanics, dynamics, kinematics, thermodynamics, and other branches of engineering. Now, to start with, we look at engineering and what functions in engineering. One of the things, the main thing engineering does is to manipulate matter to achieve man's need. This matter, almost everything that's created is a matter because they occupy space and has weight. Everything that is created. Now we manipulate it. How do we manipulate it? We manipulate them by subjecting them to variegations, subjecting them to what is happening in the world, subjecting them to force. Movement is caused by force. Stability is also brought about by force. A structure or material is either moving or standing. And in each of these cases, it is made possible by the effect of forces. So we have to study forces and know exactly what they do to matter. So to start, what is force? Force is the push and pull that occur on matter. But mathematically, force, when a matter is moving, it is made move by force. And when it starts moving, it changes speed or velocity depending on how it is going. And when it does this, that means it accelerates. If we take the mass of the matter, the volume of matter in the material, the mass of the matter multiplied by that acceleration, we get the force. This force could be a push or a pull. It could cause compression or extension on a material. Now, taking the forces, we can represent the forces by an arrow showing the movement of forces. Now, if these forces are moving in the same direction, its combined effect will be an addition of the two forces. If we have force 1 and force 2, the addition of the forces will give its combined effect because it is moving in the same direction. If one is moving in a given direction and the other one is opposite it, the final effect of the two forces will be the force 1 plus force 2, which in this case, because of direction, it becomes force 1 plus then minus force 2, because they are not in the same direction. And that eventually becomes force 1 minus force 2. Now, even if there are 3 forces, and they are, depending on whether they are this way, then force 3, that means force 1 plus force 2 plus minus force 3, because if we take the direction of force 1 and force 2 as positive, then the direction of force 3 becomes negative because it's not in the same direction. It's against the direction of force 1 and force 2. That means that gives the total effect of these forces to be F1 plus F2 plus, that's minus F3. Minus F3. This is the addition of forces, because a force is a vector. It's a vector because not only that the force has a quantity, it also has specific direction. It has, apart from that it has quantity, it also has specific direction. So whenever we're talking of force, we must talk of the quantity of the force, that's the magnitude of the force, and the direction of the force. So we bring direction into consideration when we're talking of forces. Now, these are forces in a straight line. When forces are in a straight line, in the summation of the forces, depending on their direction, if they're throughout in the same direction, it becomes absolute summation of the forces. But when the forces are in the same direction, but some are in one direction and some are in opposite direction, the summation will not be absolute this time. The direction we take as positive takes positive forces, while the direction we take as negative takes negative forces. So it ends up being the net will give us the total force, the net of the forces, depending on their direction. Now, but when forces are not in the same straight line, like forces are at different directions, but at inclination, that is not in a straight line. They are not in a straight line. Now, we think of how do we sum these forces, F1 and F2. We sum these forces either by two procedures. There are what we call rectangular method of summation of forces or parallelogram method of summation of forces, depending on how the forces are situated. Then we also have triangular method of summation of forces. That is when forces are in, okay, let's even see what we have done.